There are a lot of dominant storylines in the NBA right now, not the least of which is who is the true frontrunner for the NBA title when the top of both the Eastern and Western conferences are stacked with contenders. But amongst those beats are tales of failure. And one of the biggest failures of the NBA season up to now is that of the Los Angeles Lakers. They were billed early on as one of the super teams to beat, but now they're struggling just to stay in the playoff hunt. And one of the talents they should be focusing on might be leaving given the season they're having. Allow us to show you why Malik Monk could be too good for the Los Angeles Lakers. How things looked once for Malik. It's a Wednesday afternoon in late January, and the Lakers are set to face Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers the next night, in the fourth game of a 6-game East Coast swing. They're 2-1 so far, a rare reprieve in a season rife with turmoil. Russell Westbrook's play has improved since he was benched a week earlier. Coach Frank Vogel is still on the sidelines after the front office had considered firing him earlier in the month. Right now, looking over this pretty-ass city, I'll take that in, soak that in, says Monk, who is in his first season with the Lakers. Anything can happen, man, so I try to take in every little thing. The night before in Brooklyn, Anthony Davis had returned from a 6-week absence due to a knee injury, leading the Lakers to a victory and back to 500. While Davis had led the defense and LeBron James led the offense, Monk, a 6'3" lightning bolt, led the bench with 22 points on 6 for 12 shooting from 3. His rise in Los Angeles has been anything but expected, and he knows it. Having come into the league as a lottery selection in the 2017 draft, Monk is well aware that not long ago, after 4 uninspiring years in Charlotte, his NBA career was teetering. But the Lakers decided to overhaul their roster to make a push at the title. For an old team lacking athleticism and shooting, he was attractive. For a young player lacking career security, the Lakers provided a much-needed change of scenery. They put a lot of trust in me, Monk says, and I just feel comfortable, man, to go out and perform for them. And during a Lakers season known for what's gone wrong, Monk represents something that's gone right. Amid mounting losses, organizational dysfunction, and awkward roster construction, Monk has brought with him consistency. And at 24, an upside for a franchise looking to maximize what's left of James's final years. His time with the Hornets. When Malik Monk was with the Charlotte Hornets, it should have been a great thing, as they had a crew that was aiming to help make him a star. But then, after his first season, the Hornets cleaned out managerially from nearly top to bottom. Before coach James Borrego started his first season with the Hornets in 2018-19, taking over for Clifford, he had a lunch meeting with Malik and Marcus. I was 19 and I didn't know what being a pro was, Monk says. Borrego sold a dream to me that I was going to play. He had a sit down with me and my brother before the season and told me that I was going to be the point of the team other than Kemba Walker. And as soon as the season started, he went the opposite way. And I just was never in my right mind from there. Even a cursory glance at Monk's game logs perhaps explains why. He'd have stretches of consistent efficient scoring, often followed by stretches filled with empty calories, or straight DNPs. A couple of months after Borrego's meeting with Monk, the Hornets signed veteran guard Tony Parker, who had made the trek from San Antonio to Charlotte with the coach. While Monk says Parker was a good teammate, the future Hall of Famer's addition didn't align with the role Borrego had presented to him. As the season went along, it was more about trying to win games instead of the development of younger guys, which, that happens, Marcus says, and Malik took it personal. He admits he let the circumstances sap his spirit. I didn't put that much effort in Charlotte, he says, because I was getting mixed signals from everybody and I'm like, oh, they really don't want me here, so I'm just going to shoot the ball and give 50% on defense. And it don't work like that. You can't give 50% on something and think you're going to get 100% back. Things only got worse for him, and eventually he became a free agent with only 3 teams being willing to try him out. One of which was the Lakers. Making a name. Going into the season, Pelinka had planned for the trio of Monk, Kendrick Nunn, and Talen Horton Tucker to serve as a springy counterweight to the rest of his stodgy, veteran-laden roster. Nunn has yet to play in a game because of a bone bruise in his knee, and Horton Tucker has regressed. But Monk has helped unlock a youthful duo comprised of himself and rookie Austin Reeves that Vogel says he relies on to support some of the older legs in the group. I like the combination of Malik Monk and Austin Reeves out there together, Coach Frank Vogel said after specifically pairing the two in a new starting lineup in March. It's been a combination that our analytics team has said has really produced. Monk has the second best net rating on the team behind only Reeves. I feel like we have a chemistry, Reeves says. Even from the start, it's been just a kind of connection that you really can't explain. Perhaps it's the geographical tie, having played against one another in both the regional championship and state championship as ninth graders. Two mother effers from Arkansas, man, Monk says. Monk says their dialogue forms the foundation of their success. Shit, everything, Monk says. Ups and downs, rookie wall, older guys yelling at the rookies because it's their fault. Everything they do, it's your fault out there because they know everything and you don't. And when you mess up, you just gotta take it. You got to deal with things like that. I talk to Austin almost every day. But it's his own on-court play that he at times needs to focus more on, because he can light it up as he proved last month. This is what I wanted to do my whole career, Monk said after a win over the Knicks in February when he scored 29. This is what I've been trying to find. He has mostly delivered when called upon. Monk has scored 20 or more points in 17 games this season, and LA has gone 9-8 when that's happened. He's flammable, Vogel said. He can really catch fire. James said Monk possesses something that the Lakers lack. He brings a knockout punch that, to be completely honest with you, we haven't had on our roster since I got here, he said. Someone that can literally, if he makes one, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. And that's why so many are thinking that he's too good for the Lakers right now, because he can be a standout player in a group that is more focused on older talent that has a time limit versus a still young player that can lead the way in the future. So that leads us to the question of, should he leave the Lakers? Better waters. That would depend not just on what the Lakers do with him, but what they do with the team as a whole as the offseason hits. Because no one doubts that the Lakers are going to try and do another overhaul to course correct. But how big is that course correction is the question. They won't get rid of James, obviously, but they could and likely will get rid of both Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. This could open up a bigger spot on the roster for Malik Monk. But if they feel they can do better, despite various endorsements from LeBron and others, then his play this season should at the very least get interest from others. He's still young, and in the right squad that has young talent, or a truly selfless team, yes, those do exist in the NBA, he could thrive. So is he too good for the Lakers? In a way, yes, but whether that remains the case will depend on them and him. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Malik Monk, his time with the Lakers, and why he might honestly do better if he's not with them versus staying with the team after this season? Do you agree that he's a talent being squandered on the squad? Do you think that the Lakers should do everything they can to keep him for the future? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.